Welcome back to another episode of Cseking In. My name is Nikki Check, and in studio with me today is Ashley Stone, co-founder of the Village app. Very excited to have you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So if Ashley will indulge me, I'm going to ask a little bit more questions around the Village app. So actually, Ashley, I'm going to let you give a bit of a brief of
Sure.
you.
Sure. Yeah. So, hi, my name is Ashley Stone. I am a public health nurse by trade. That's what I went to school for. I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. And so by that, I mean my parents are, my brother is, my grandparents are, as far as you can see, those have been entrepreneurs. I grew up in that lifestyle, and I actually wanted to get as far away as possible from that lifestyle. The long hours, you never actually leave work at work. And so I decided to become a nurse because I said I could, go to work, do good, and then move on. And when you are put in a system that has a lot of problems, such as healthcare, and you have a mind of an entrepreneur, it's very hard not to think of solutions. And as much as our healthcare system is doing its best, there's not a lot of room for entrepreneurship in healthcare. And so I needed to find a way to follow my own passions. And being a public health nurse, I see a lot of families come in. I see a lot of people struggling. I have moms calling me on the phone saying that they haven't slept. They've just moved here. We know Kelowna is a hub for people just coming, and it's really difficult to meet people. And so they are here in my office, and I'm trying to offer them these resources, and but I can't be your friend. I just want to be your friend and help you. And then I had my own experience in 2018 when I found out that I was expecting twins. And that was actually a surprise third pregnancy. So I already had two older kids at the time. And I was just like, wow, I'm going to need so much help. When you have one kid, you're like, well, I'll just, I can figure it out. You have two kids and you're like, oh, okay, here, take the older one and I'll be fine with this one. And then you have twins and it's like, whoa. And literally that same week that I found out I was having twins, it was one of the first weeks that my oldest son had started kindergarten. Mm-hmm. And I got a call home on that Monday saying, you know what, he's not fitting in to how we think he should be fitting in. We're thinking ADHD, possible autism. You need to go get him checked out. On the Tuesday, my mom was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my gosh.
The Wednesday, I found out I was pregnant with twins, and Thursday was my birthday. So it was just this wild, wild week. And so within all of this craziness, and my husband works out of town. Don't forget that. And so with all this craziness is happening, and I go back to work, and I'm surrounded by these lovely women who are nurses, and they're saying, how can we support you? We need to help you. And I jokingly, I'm like, fill my freezer, show up for me once the boys are born. And I'm literally just joking. And people are pulling out their calendars.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I want to help you. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And when the boys were born, on April Fool's Day, mind you.
I saw that too.
There was this influx that anybody gets when a baby is born. How can I help you? What can I do? And you're like, well, I'm okay right now. My freezer was stocked. I had family. My husband was home for a month. And I knew that when he left, that's when I would need the support. And I knew that that's when the support would go away.
So when I was reading about your story, it was obvious that it took a lot to ask for help.
Yes.
And I think that's not special for you. I think it's difficult for most people to ask for help. I don't know if it's societal, a show of weakness, you're not capable. I don't know what messaging there is in that, but I find it ironic because you will say something if you're, I don't know, driving other people's kids to hockey and you go, oh, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It takes a village. So loving the naming protocol of the app that you built, because it does take a village.
It does.
So let's first talk a little bit about who can use the Village app and why. And then I want to sort of look under the hood from a business perspective, if I can.
Yeah.
So
originally we had built it. I had this idea that, there was never a lack of people who wanted to help. There was a lack of a way to ask easily. And I felt myself going through my own internal algorithm of, is this worthy enough to bother people for?
bother.
Right? Mm-hmm. And is this, if I put this out there, are people going to feel a need to want to help me and feel bad that they can't help me? And I don't want to put that on other people. So unless I absolutely cannot figure this out in any other way, then I will ask. And so there's just this whole internal thing. And when building the Village app, I was like, I want to remove that. I want to remove all of that. I want to remove that I need help at this place, at this time. Can you come or not? And that's all it is. Someone answers yes or no. There's no comments. There's no explanation why you need the help. And so originally it was my story in mind. Originally it was kind of focused at moms. But moms are busy and moms, need, we can support each other, but we need more that external help. So as far as who can use the app, as broad as this sounds, it's for anybody who needs support and anybody who feels that they can support somebody. So whether that is, I'm going to drop off items to you, whether that's I'm going to go shovel your driveway, whatever it is, there's all these little micro opportunities, especially within your neighborhood, because you're so close to people, to help other people.
And I like that when you described it in the video of, hey, I have too much zucchini in my garden.
Yeah.
Can you help me shovel my driveway?
Yes.
Or I need help with my driveway, or
exactly.
Need a carpool or something. So it can be so vast in the question or the need, both on the ask side and the give side.
Exactly. And what we've seen too is that when some people, even we always see an influx during the holidays of requests and offers coming through. We always see an influx of activity within the app. And what we see and what we love and what we're building is that someone comes on asking for something, and then they see that somebody needs something and they answer it. And so you've come to the app for support, but now you have said, oh, well, I have that, or I have that skill, or I have a little bit of extra time. We had one family looking for support, and then she turned around and answered a request for a little boy who needed some Christmas present. And she said, I don't have much to give, but this feels so good that I can give this little bit. And that reciprocity is, I feel, what we're missing in just society in general, So.
Well, times have changed so much. And again, I promised I would never be that. Well, back in my day, and I've said this before, but where you would have, and again, I'm maybe 7. I'm dropped off at grandma's. I go to Dot's house across the street, and literally her name was Dot, or Dorothy on the other side. Yeah. And they whip out the knitting, and they're teaching me how to knit.
Course,
and
that's perfect.
Or you'd throw the fishing rod on, and you'd go. So it's changed so much. And again, I don't know. Well, I can guess, but I think there's really benefit of connecting to community and having a positive impact on that in canning, in
of course skills,
sitting, in teaching things. So I think that's incredible, and it sounds like that's one of the many benefits of this. Geographically spread, where did it started here?
It started here. Our user base is mostly within the Okanagan. But we are a North American-wide app, so we are available to anybody who lives in Canada or the US. I do customer support, and sometimes I'll log into their postal code or their zip code to see how I can support them in their particular area, and I'll find a pocket of people in New York. And it's just, I'm like, wow, there's a little pocket over here, there's a little pocket over there, and it's just so lovely to see these little pockets growing. But yes, our concentration is in Kelowna mostly, and we do have the ability to, so if you don't know anybody in this area already, you can actually go on the app and find everybody who lives near you. It will go 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, and you can connect with those people. That zucchini example, if you have too much zucchini, I have always too much sage in my garden. And so I send out a request by location or an offer by location. And so I just say 1 kilometer radius. So anybody within this little bubble of 1 kilometer gets that notification saying, Ashley has too much sage. Do you want it? And I've actually been able to connect with neighbors. That way I found somebody who our kids were in the same class and we had no idea. And she lived down the street. And making those little micro connections leads to bigger things.
So what, again, read somewhere, intention economy.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So right now, the way platforms are built is an attention economy. It's an attention model. The more eyes you have, the more clicks you get. That is how they pay. And that's their goal. Their goal is to capture as much of your attention, which is isolating us all because we're all focused on our phones and we're all, looking there and we're not actually going out. So our goal for the Village app is not for you to be stuck on your phone. We actually want you to go out. So while we're an app and we're a mobile platform, our goal is not to have your eyeballs on us all the time. So you're coming to the app for an intention. You're coming because you need something, you have something that you can give, or you want to know what's happening in your community. And then you're off. You're not there. That's not an endless feed of scrolling. We're not trapping you. We're not media rich either. We don't have photos or anything like that. There's no comments. It's not salacious of, who said what to that person. It's just you have an intention to do something and then you move on from it.
So hence the slogan, less likes, more life.
Exactly. Because we don't, you're not getting bumped up an algorithm. Any request or offer has the same validity as any other one. If you are, we work with some nonprofit organizations locally and beyond, and a big problem that they're having is they've built this social media following, right? And they think that they have 1,000, 10,000 followers. But the way the algorithm works is if people aren't regularly engaging with your content, only 3 to 9% of those people are actually seeing it. So you've gathered these people, but only maybe 30 of them actually get to see it. So although Dolores would have volunteered at the shelter, she can't because she doesn't know. And so what we're offering them is 100% access to their audience all the time.
Love it. Love it. So, Ashley.
Yes.
Intention and kindness and filling a need or a gap that you identified through your lens.
Yes.
You scoured the internet and couldn't find anything like it.
Yes.
So you were inspired to build it.
Yes.
So again, now bring in the entrepreneur exposure that you've had forever. Did you go talk to family about this idea first, or did you just dive in and do it?
Yeah. So my family's entrepreneurship is very manufacturing based.
Okay.
And so they don't understand kind of the tech. I'm very different from my family in that sense too, I love my family, but they're very, very much like when we had people over for dinner, it was at 6:00 on Saturday. The entire house was cleaned and the entire meal was planned and they left at 8:30. And that was the confines. And I'm very different where my house is a mess. Come on in, drop your kids off, sure, bring this. And it doesn't matter, And so I really I wanted to build that for other people and let other people know that that's okay to be like that. So in building this, I, have just ideas all the time. And I said, there's something about this. And I talked to some friends kind of just in passing. And my one friend, I messaged her and she said, well, that's $1 million idea. And I was like, I don't know. And then I just kept seeing it on social media and stuff, people literally begging for support of some sort. And the final thing was my friend posted a meme, if you want, saying, I hear it takes a village to raise a child. I think they're having trouble finding me. Is there a number I call? And I was like, that's it. I need to build this. And so I started, I am an entrepreneur-ish, I'm tech-ish, but not enough to build my own app. And so I started going around to local tech companies and beyond, and with this idea of here's what I want to build. And I found one locally, and she was like, we love this idea. My entire team loves this idea so much. Let's build it together. And I was like, that's amazing. I have the idea, you have the skills, and together, we can create this. And so her name's Karen. And Karen and I met essentially at the beginning of the pandemic. We met, I think, twice. We like to say that we got married on the second date because we were signing papers.
Wow.
And started this full-fledged contract. And we also joke that it's probably the best relationship that we've ever had. Like, we talk to each other constantly. We, problem solve in like a non-egotistical manner, that we can see each other's viewpoints and then come to a logical conclusion of what our next steps are. And it's just so nice to have somebody that's sharing this exact journey with me, because I don't think anybody else really understands.
So it's you and Karen are the co-founders.
Yes.
So back it up for me. 4 years.
Almost.
It's been almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years.
So you have this idea. You both love it. You're giddy. You're getting validation every time you talk somewhere. Do you go to a bank and get financing for it? Do you bootstrap it? How do you fund this?
So I bootstrapped Karen through her company. She was able to bootstrap it with other projects that were happening. And we have pitched hundreds of times and hundreds of investors, and they continuously say, here's the goal that you need to meet and come back to us.
Okay.
And so we do that. We meet that goal, we go back to them, and then the goalposts move. So this entire project for the last 4 years has been completely bootstrapped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have a business plan that you and Karen have created that has the ability for you to monetize this?
Yes. And so we do have monthly recurring revenue right now.
Okay.
We do it through, so kind of there's like a journey of understanding and a journey of learning that happens through any project. And so first we started with individuals, and that was the focus, kind of on moms and other people who might just organically need more support. And then we realized
For free. They have the app for free.
For free, yeah. And so we started that way. And then we thought, well, we need to monetize this in some way that's not going to be ads and attention-based.
Okay.
And we also need to get what we call atomic networks. So if you join the app in the middle of Kansas and nobody else has it, that's not valuable to you because nobody else has it. So how can we connect with these networks of people who are already interconnected but don't necessarily have the technology to support it, or are unhappy with the current technology that's out there? And we went through an accelerator program through Berkeley, California, and they, as any accelerator should happen, is you come out a lot smarter and more focused on the other end. And after doing a lot of research, we thought that the nonprofit sector was kind of our low-hanging fruit. It's not that people hear a nonprofit and they think no money. Nonprofit has a substantial amount of money, but they are resource strapped. And so we started working with nonprofits. We did a few free pilot projects as well. And again, realized that one nonprofit in one area does not make a village. And so we bumped it up one level higher and started talking to municipalities. Municipalities tend to have many pain points, but usually really focused pain points. So food security, housing, newcomer population, and specifically rural municipalities. They tend to have small councils. They can move quicker on their decisions. And we got a pilot project in an Alberta county that has 4 kind of little cities within it. And their pain point was their newcomer population. They had some funding. They're bringing these newcomers in, but they can't connect them to these resources. And so what we're doing with them is all of the nonprofits in that area that deal with or would be beneficial to newcomers are now on the app. So now it's a living, breathing directory where I, as a person, am dropped into this community. Not only do I get to see all the resources, daycares and churches and all that kind of stuff, and can connect with them directly there, now I can also see my neighbors as well. And so now it's twofold of having this. And so that's how we're monetizing it right now, is working with these bigger organizations. We always want to keep it free for the individual. The current base that we have, we don't think people should have to pay for asking for help. We will have premium features down the road that will be more monetized, like a skill-based marketplace. So I'm good at sewing, but I'm not necessarily going to do it professionally, but I'm also not going to do it for free. So there's this kind of middle zone where I'll charge you, $10 to hem your pants versus $30 that they might charge at a professional place, and having that within your neighborhood too. So being able to find people with skills in your neighborhood. You do bike repair, you do this, and being able to, connect people.
And it is a giving, sharing economy.
Yes.
It is.
Exactly.
What are your goals for users or downloads on the app? Have you hit that?
Yeah, there's been slow adoption. I think people, to be honest, are feeling platform fatigue. They go here, they go there, and they go. But when they experience the difference and when they understand the difference, then they're all in. They're like, oh, this isn't going to be, because there's all these online communities and you have to maintain them, right? You have to engage with them. You have to constantly be, posting, and they have all the tricks of like, tell me your favorite thing you wore in high school, and to get all this engagement. And it's just nobody has time for that. Yeah. And so once they realize this is just a supportive community that you can interact with as you want and as you need, then they're hooked on it. Obviously, we'd always love more downloads and more people. We would love for, there to be half a Kelowna on it, and just the bouncing back and forth requests and offers, and people are just getting their needs met back and forth.
Well, and that was, if we look at Mamas for Mamas grew out of social. It literally grew with that need of, I have a crib, I have an extra bib, I have, you need, and that sharing economy was what really, I think set Shannon and her mamas on that path. So there is an appetite for that, and there's definitely a need for that. So Ashley, you are a mom of 4.
4, yes.
And you are a full-time nurse.
Not full-time,
no. Casual.
Yeah.
So you put your name in for shifts that
when I'm available.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, when my husband's in town, so he doesn't he works out of town. A lot of people do like the 2 on, 1 on. He doesn't have a specific schedule. He's busy in the spring, and he's busy in the fall, and he's usually home for big chunks in the winter and big chunks in the summer.
So you can pick up.
Yeah, that's kind of
how we work. And our healthcare system has ample opportunity to do that right now.
Exactly. And it's how we work around the lack of childcare as well, because I did calculate it that if I put my kids in after school care and daycare, working full time as a nurse, I would not make any money coming home. So which is it's crazy.
Counterproductive.
It is. There are the grants and all that, but you don't always qualify for those either.
So, Ashley, I'm interested. You mentioned you went through the accelerator program through Berkeley, California.
Yeah.
Was that Karen that directed you there? Was that one of the advisors? So I see you have 3 advisors.
Yeah, that's how we met a couple of our advisors. Was through that program. 2 of the 3 advisors is how we met them. There's always accelerator programs kind of happening everywhere, and there's some really big ones too that everybody applies to, and we applied to some as well. But when you look at their questioning, the way that they ask you in your applications is for a very specific set of people. Okay. So they're like, what is the biggest thing you've hacked? What is, like, besides university, what else have you done with your partner? And I'm like, we haven't met in university. There's all of these, there's very specific set of questions that they're trying to acquire a very specific set of people with specific life.
So this was a match. And this was a match.
So this one,
the Village app.
Yeah, although it was run by old white men, they were very open and got it. And we didn't spend half of the time in the interviews defending our idea. They just
did not. We spend time defending.
So that's been our experience sometimes with people who have never been in a position where they needed help and couldn't afford to pay for that help. And so when we're talking to those type of people, we are now having to defend why this is a valid idea. And then that's, you're wasting a lot of time.
Sure.
So when we meet people who we just talk to and they're like, yep, got it. How can we grow it? We're like, these are our people.
Yeah.
That they get it.
And serendipitous that you met them.
Yes.
Or made it there.
Yes.
Any advice, Ashley, you would give anyone that has an idea that you would maybe share?
Yeah, I think it's a bit cliche, but like just start. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, I think so many people are just afraid to take that leap, and it doesn't have to be like a
Perfect.
all in and perfect. You can just start working at it, and there's just so many great ideas that people don't act on. And a huge fear is people don't want to share their idea because they think that someone's gonna steal it. And I said, like, if you knew how much work it was to develop an idea, like you wouldn't be worried that someone was going to steal your idea, because
Work
it is
ethic.
is
Yeah.
1% idea and 99% execution on it. So everyone has an idea. I'm sure there's great ideas out there, but there's only such a small percentage of people who actually act on it. So be scrappy, be resourceful, talk to people. There are so many people who have walked that path already, who would be willing to guide you down there. I talk to people who are on the other end now, who are just starting out, because I wish I had some of that before, because I would have skipped over a lot of the learning that I had to do along the way.
So you're 4 years in. There's an unwritten stat that is, if you can just make it to 5 years, you might actually be able to continue as a business.
Yeah.
You're knocking on that door. You're a year and a bit away.
Yeah.
What do you have? And again, not looking for cliche, but what do you and Karen define as saying, we're successful? This was a success. What would you say?
Yeah. I think that people are on the app and get genuine support and feel less alone. That they are like, wow, and I've had, people come to me and say, because of your app, this happened. And it would have never happened without that. And even one story and two stories lights our fire to just keep going, because we're like, yes, we are making a dent somewhere. And we would just love it for people to be able to put down that need of looking perfect and feeling perfect. And I got everything together. You don't. We're all a mess.
Hot mess.
And be a mess with me, And I have a neighbor across the street. We've developed this relationship where it's almost daily. We're either passing kids back and forth. We're borrowing flour. Like, she literally showed up to my door and was like, can I have some flour? And just to be able to have that relationship, and knowing that at any time, at any moment, I have dozen plus people that will step in for me. I want everybody to have that, or a lot of people
gift
to have that, to say that I'm not alone and that I have a safety net, and it's the Village app.
Ashley, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your story. I'm excited to even have one person find this app, watching these live streams, and be able to reach out and grow their community or their village. I'm very excited for your story, and thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ashley.